Now Smith has it. DeMoss, the steal for three. Buried! Joey DeMoss. Far side. Timmons blocked again. Daly, top of the key, spinning. Daly up and one. What a play. Position Epps to Valentine. Yes, sir. Mackay with another. Corrado left, block up, and one. The Graphics up by one, now down by two. It's Davis again. Zion again. He cannot miss. Now it's Terza for the lead. Got it. Picked off. That's RJ Sledge. Sledge pulls up. Sledge and one. RJ Sledge, incredible.
Welcome into episode number 100 of the Valley Sports Guys podcast, live here from Remixed by Steel City Galleries in Ross River Township. I'm Jose Negron, joined by Jeremy Salou and Alex Lyons. And guys, we finally hit that milestone. We have hit into triple digits, number 100 of the Valley Sports Guys podcast.
Long time coming.
Long time coming. We've been talking about this for couple months at least.
We
knew that it was coming soon, and we made sure that we had something different, made sure that we were in a different venue just to kind of get a different feel for things, and very excited to be here at Remixed. Very grateful to them for allowing us to be here, and we have all this product right in front of us. Great product.
I've said it a couple times. I go from love with the Care Bear to absolute homicide. And then we get a postie. Post Milan. So
and then we got some NASCAR stuff. We got some Marvel here. Of course, all of this available here at Remixed. So be sure to come down here if you haven't already. I don't know what you're thinking because we are here way more than we would probably like to admit.
I was going to say chances are we probably would have been here anyway.
Regardless.
If we weren't doing a podcast here. We've been here. What was shocking to me is one of our fellow collectors, Chad Corrado, my wife's name, said he's never been here.
Which is crazy to me.
He would probably spend an absurd amount of money here if he was. So.
And we have spent an absurd amount of money here, and I think you should too. If you have not been down here,
it's a good time.
It's a great time. It's they have just their store is just phenomenal, and it's gigantic. So much product. So regardless of whether you're into collecting Funko Pops or collecting sports memorabilia, classic toys that we had growing up. This is the place to be. So be sure to come here whenever you have the opportunity.
Jeremy's old sports jerseys.
Yep, some of Jeremy's old sports jerseys. Some of my old sports cards are here as well because they do have trade-ins. So if
Jose rips the packs in the parking lot and brings it back upstairs.
I do not do that. I have ripped packs in the parking lot.
It's only a matter of time before I eventually buy something that I sold here. And just buy it back and bring it back home. So.
Or forget about it. You're just oh, I actually completely forgot that I sold this here, and then I just bought it back.
Right.
Episode number 100, a long time coming. When did we have episode 1? 2020?
I don't know. Perked Up Cafe, me, you, Chad. And,
I think I came in around mid-20s.
Yeah.
Is when I started.
Yeah.
So.
I think it was probably around 2020 that when we started this. I actually tried to look back and see what our first episode was like.
But that was pre-YouTube though, so we didn't switch to YouTube till at least
50?
a couple. No, it would have been in 20s, but it would have been after I got hired, so it would have been a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, I know you were doing Inside the League on YouTube, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think podcasts went on YouTube. I know because we always had the issues with the boards when Nick and I were both just helping out a little bit.
Right.
So, it's a long, long way coming to talking about Nick hopping in the
chat.
chat.
Give a shout out to Nick Hickson-Ball up in the chat. And also your
hit
mom,
us up in
Lisa's
the chat.
in the chat.
Lisa's in
Hi,
the
Lisa.
chat. We do have an audience today.
Three we do have an
one
audience
of which is my
here.
wonderful
one of them
daughter.
is Curly Sue. I also got to give a shout out to His Place Coffee Community and More, our usual home for everything that they've done for us, allowing us to come in and spout nonsense every week and just do this? Like, who let us do this?
And we have to say, we don't hype it enough, too. We are an award-winning podcast.
We are. We don't. Yeah, we're very humble when it comes to that. But
which
we
is weird.
We should not be.
We should not be.
We should not do that.
According to the PA News Media Association, we are the #1 sports podcast in the state.
Yeah. So,
when it comes to media outlets. So
and
we'll take that.
Kind of brings me into wanting to just talk about this experience before we get into the
looking
recap.
into our agenda. Why don't we get to that stuff first? Let's do all the sports stuff first, and then we'll get down to the fun stuff and the looking back and the memories, and because this is Jose's farewell segment. He's out.
I'm out. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some basketball action before we get into the sappy stuff. Big game
games.
last night.
Big
games
all around.
Big games all around last night. There were a couple huge upsets, and it all started over at Bell Vernon. I mean, 30-point loss the Leopards had to
91
Uniontown.
to 61.
91 to 61. I believe January 5th was that game, and boy, did they look like a completely different team last night. And Joe Salvino admitted it, like, just the way that they played as a unit, the way that, because at times at the beginning of the season you could tell that there was a little bit of individual play. And last night they played as a team. That was the biggest difference, Coach Salvino said, is they were able to get a 69-65 win on their home floor. Great atmosphere. I mean, they pulled the bleachers on the away side all the way out.
How was that for you? Was that nice and cramped?
It was fine. It was good. Like, it wasn't like really cramped I was really the only reporter there, so that wasn't cramped there. But it was. I didn't even know they went out that far.
Oh yeah,
the only games I've seen that was Uniontown and LH last year. The only other two times I think I've seen that.
Which is understandable because Uniontown travels like no other fan base really. I mean
to Bell Vernon, yeah.
And then even at EF when they played over at Elizabeth Forward. I had to get there before the JV game because I knew I was going to be on the visitor side, and I wasn't going to be able to get up to the table because it was just going to be packed with fans. So credit to Uniontown for always coming out to those local away games. But, talking a little bit about the Leopards, I mean, a huge win for them puts them in that position to potentially earn a share of this section title because right now Uniontown lost 3 of their last 4. I know that they have a big game next week against Elizabeth Forward, who I think can maybe –
Where's that one at? That one's at
Uniontown,
okay.
yeah. Big win for Bell Vernon.
It is, but you got to look back and what could have been right now if you're the Leps. You don't want to, but you lost to Albert Gallatin in a game where you had it in hand almost, and AG obviously a little better this year, but that's a game if you're Bell Vernon you should have won.
Yeah.
And now your fate not necessarily in your hand, even though you got that big win against Uniontown. Calvin win for your return to the floor for them. So that's still a big win. And I think if you're Bell Vernon, you look at yourself in a situation like you did last year. You were not great during the regular season, but you figured it out for the playoffs, and you probably should have beat Laurel Highlands in the playoffs last year, down at AHN Arena. And, of course, just the way that went out didn't happen for the Leps. But in the grand scheme of things, Bell Vernon, if you're trending up at the right time, you're going to be fine. And I think a big part of why Bell Vernon's starting to trend up, obviously you know what Zion's doing. And again, congratulations to him getting his 1,000th Leopard point, well over 14 or up over 1,400 now in his career. But you look at the way Tommy Davis has been playing. He had 27 against Southmoreland, and then another big game last night for Davis. Kovac has been way better.
2 nights in a row, 2 games in a row, setting his career highs, 18 and 19.
For
and then I think Alonzo just all around, he's not always going to be the most prolific scorer, but what he can do in every other aspect of the game has absolutely been incredible.
He had a big 3-pointer last night.
He came, I think it was in that second quarter that he hit that 3, and it was a situation where he had 3 fouls at the time. He wasn't in the game before he hit that 3, and he wanted to get in the game. And the coaches were kind of like, well, we don't want you to have 4 fouls going into the second half. Like, we need you, obviously. But credit to Alonzo Wade. He played smart. He was, made sure that he didn't get that 4th foul, and then he hit a big shot for Bell Vernon. And also, got to give a credit to the Leopards with their free throw shooting last night.
Much better.
Last minute, they went, I think, 2 for 6. But before that, in the second half, 13 of 14 from the free throw line.
And that's been their Achilles heel like past couple of seasons, has been shooting at the line. So you get the free throw shoot in the right direction, again, Bell Vernon, they have the talent. If they can stay on the floor, like you were mentioned, Wade in foul trouble, if you can keep that starting 5 on the floor, I'd take them against anybody inside of, that they're going to go up against. Maybe Lincoln Park, obviously a big-time advantage, but I give them that starting 5 is almost as good as anyone else's around.
Right. And you mentioned Zion Moore getting over 1,000 career points at Bell Vernon now. I believe at 1410 in his career. I actually had a typo in my story. I said 1406, but he's actually at 1410 in his high school career. Of course, began at his freshman year at Ringgold, but has been huge for Bell Vernon. 25 points last night. Also, the first time this season that Zion Moore has not hit a 3 in a game, which I think is very encouraging. He kept going to the basket. He was, getting some big shots inside and wasn't relying on the 3 ball. Also had 8 assists, so he was a very good facilitator last night as well. But he really carried the load, and like you said, Trevor Kovac, 4 3-pointers. He had 3 in the first quarter alone. And then a career-high 19 for him. Tommy Davis with 13. And then Alonzo Wade, Curdy Wade contributed. Dom Galani hit a big 3 in the second half coming off the bench. So it was a very good team effort for Bell Vernon against a Uniontown team that, they didn't have the big 20-plus point game for Notorious Grooms. I think he only had 12 or 13, I believe. Jeremiah Hager had 21 points. He had 6 threes for him.
And that's not the guy you expect to carry the load.
Right.
I think I put 3 guys minimum ahead of him. You'd expect it to be Grooms, Winfrey, if not them, Jameer Braxton, who's a 1,000-point scorer as well. Uniontown, that's a star-studded lineup. There's a reason they went down to Florida and beat a bunch of schools. And
for Winfrey, I think his minutes were kind of limited last night. It was his first game back from injury. But yeah, the big thing for Bell Vernon, and Coach Salvino alluded to it last night, was Hager was really the only one that was consistently hitting shots from the outside. So they made an emphasis to kind of just cut down their penetration and make sure that they weren't getting to the basket a lot. And then Jameer Braxton was in foul trouble for a lot of that game as well. He did still have 17 points, but it was just it was Bell Vernon's night. It was a big win for them, and obviously, when you're able to bounce back from a 30-point loss and get a big win on your home court, it's pretty impressive.
And if you're the Red Raiders of Uniontown, obviously we know a ton of those kids see them most of the summer. They have to start figuring out. They're trending in the wrong direction going towards the end of the season. And this is a team everyone had kind of on a collision course with Lincoln Park coming into the year. And it's a team that's very talented, but right now they're not hitting shots. Of course, they've been a little banged up, but they got to get back to playing their game if they want to kind of go in the right direction, because they played a very tough game against Southmoreland. Very next night, they lost to South Allegheny, and now you're seeing a loss to Bell Vernon.
Lost to Baldwin as well.
Lost to Baldwin in there as well, absolutely. So and that's a good Baldwin team, but, nonetheless, it's a Uniontown team. You weren't expecting this to kind of be the case down the stretch run.
And then you have Southmoreland and EF coming up. Bright side for them, they are at home, but, because we know that's a tough place to play up there in the up in Uniontown, but they, like you said, they have to right the ship quickly because playoffs are coming.
And I think that once Calvin Winfrey gets a few games under his belt too, he's going to be even more of a contributor. We know how good he is. We've seen it time and time again on the high school floor, and also in the summer league. When he could take over games. Him and Grooms are a great duo. Jameer Braxton and Kadrian McLee are 2 very good players. And then we saw last night, of course, what Jeremiah Hager can do. And then Kellen Milsom coming off the bench. They have a couple of guys that can give them some good minutes. So this is still a Uniontown team that is very talented, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them make some noise in the playoffs. But right now, they've kind of hit a little bit of a lull.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you said the EF game's coming up, and EF rolled last night. One bad quarter for the Warriors. They scored 20-plus points in 3 quarters. First, third, and fourth quarter, EF up over 20 points. Isaiah Turner, a fantastic night. Ty Keffer, I don't know if something's wrong with him. He just does not look like himself on the floor. Only 2 against Bell Vernon. All his points yesterday were in the second half. Just doesn't look like the Ty Keffer we've seen at points this season. And Isaiah Turner did a great job defensively on him. Melib big minutes, double-digit score as well in that game for Elizabeth Ford, but EF got out running, and they wanted to avenge that loss early on from early this season, and they did just that. And I think Coach Nolan Larry's really found a nice rhythm with his bodies on and off the bench, how he uses them. Like we saw Basic come off the bench last night, hit 3 threes in that game for Tyler Basic. Daniel Spence has been knocking down some big shots. Justin Flournoy, even though not always the most prolific scorer, he battles and bangs underneath the basket, and he's got some big minutes. And then, of course, you have your Turner, your Melib, your Kennedy and company, who are all lethal, along with Cy Herschelroth, who's been such a added breath of fresh air, I feel, this season. Almost didn't come back and play, and he has been one of the most instrumental pieces of this Warrior team this year, who avenged that 7-point loss from earlier this season with a big-time 20-point victory last night.
And you look ahead, too. I mean, obviously the 3 teams that you're competing with in the section in terms of a playoff spot, EF could very well be in the mix for not just the 3rd or 4th spot. Like, they could potentially get that 2nd spot. I'm not sure if they're actually in contention to potentially win the section, but they still have games against Uniontown.
Well, they have 3 losses, so they're probably out. And it would have been a lot easier to get the 2nd spot if it wasn't for the upset yesterday with Bell Vernon, because if they were able to split with Bell Vernon, split with Southmoreland, but they sweep AG, it kind of creates that tie atop of the 2nd spot inside the standings between EF and Bell Vernon. But Bell Vernon kind of helped that matter and helped kind of the confusion that was going to look like it could have occurred with the big win over Uniontown last evening.
And AG does come to Elizabeth Ford's gym on Friday night, so that should be a big game for them. EF with a 74-69 win on January 26th that kind of started this 3-game winning streak that followed their 5-game losing streak. And then they end at Uniontown and then at home on their home court against Bell Vernon. So,
looking forward to that one.
And I really look at all 3 of these games as I think they're winnable for EF. I mean, I don't think that they're completely out of, it's out of the realm of possibility of them going 3-0 here down the stretch.
No, absolutely not. Obviously, it will be tough against a Uniontown team, but Bell Vernon, we saw that was a fantastic first game at Bell Vernon that they very much could have won in the first meeting. So that was a fantastic game that you look at, okay, that could have been a game EF easily flipped the script on Bell Vernon. And, I kind of feel like even though, they had one more game after the Bell Vernon game last year where they lost to Highlands, but you kind of knew what that was going to be going in. That game to end the year at Bell Vernon really started this turnaround for Elizabeth Ford in the right direction. And it was really started by a player who's now playing for the Blue and Gold in South Allegheny with Drew Cook, who knocked off Bell Vernon. Nobody saw that coming. And Elizabeth Ford's kind of since then just found a groove.
Figured it out.
And they're already having a better season, already have confirmed and completed what will be a better season, even if they lost out this year.
You look at it last year, so many injuries that plagued this team, but guys like Cy Herschelroth gained a lot of valuable playing experience down the stretch last year, and I think that's what's benefiting him now. And you've seen that with a lot of these EF kids of, they got playing experience last year when it wasn't the year that they wanted to have, and now they're using that to their advantage when they're actually in contention now this season.
And we talked about it was just very uncertain last year because Melib missed all but I believe the playoff game with his injury. Chris Climbs, who was supposed to play, shout out to him, he's just stacking offers right now.
And Charlie Niggett, I think, was hurt throughout the year as well.
But Kai Daniels was supposed to play, never played a game last year. So, I mean, there was so much uncertainty around that team. Obviously, Zach Boyd, was he going to play? Was he not going to play?
So he never really got into a rhythm once he did.
So that was just it was so confusing in a sense for, I think, trying to move pieces if you're EF, that this year you knew who was playing, who wasn't, really besides Melib, who was a day before almost decision for the Elizabeth Ford Warriors. But, that's a good, well-conditioned athlete coming off football season. And, it took him a while to get in the starting lineup, to get back with the team. But, again, it was one of those instances you kind of knew what you were going to have coming into the season, where last year you almost had no clue what was going to be available to you if you were the Warriors.
Yeah, Elizabeth Ford started out with winning 9 of their first 10 games, had their 5-game losing streak, which includes some losses to Montour, Uniontown, Peters Township, so some tough matchups in there. But now they've won 3 straight games going into Friday's matchup with Albert Gallatin at Uniontown next week, and then they are hosting Bell Vernon to end the regular season. But we'll move forward and talk a little bit about some of the other games that we had. Had some of our friends over at the Trib help us with some coverage last night. Also, our friend over at the Daily Courier, Yock with a big victory over Wash High, another huge win over a top-ranked team in Class 3A, and now a tie atop Section 4 in 3A are the Yacht Cougars in Washington Prexies, as Yacht came away with a 43-35 victory on their home floor. And of course, Tarek Crosby leading the way. Austin Matthews contributed, but Crosby, the WIPUL leader in scoring this season, 28 points per game, and he showed once again why he's one of the top scorers with 11 of his 15 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, look at Yock boys' schedule too. It sets up nicely because they have Mount Pleasant, McGuffey, and Charleroi at the end of the season. On paper should be 3 wins, but you're looking to eke out that section Toledo over Washington, who still has to play Waynesburg and Mount Pleasant twice. So if you could not share that section, that's advantageous for them. But I think with that the latest head-to-head win over Wash High, I think Yock should be looking at a pretty good seed heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, the Cougars get that victory on their home floor. I believe they've won. I was trying to see what their winning streak is at. 6 in a row?
I could tell you here in a second here. Let me pull that up. We're looking at 8 in a row.
8 in a row.
And they've won 10 of their last 11.
I think their last loss was against Washington,
Wash High,
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, the Cougars, definitely one of the better teams in the Mon Valley, and they're showing 3A, especially Section 4, just what they're about. Of course, Tarek Crosby, like I said, atop the scoring list at 28 points per game. And the Sarah Catholic Eagles are still taking –
They're still rolling.
They're on a heater right now, 6 of 7 for the Eagles.
And if you go a little further, 8 of their last 10 victories, have won 8 of their last 10 games, I should say, as they take sole possession of that 4th place spot in the section, now in a firm playoff spot. Isaiah Petty, 24 points for him in their 64-57 win over Springdale. And, I mean, Alex, I hate you said it. You said that if they continue to play the way that they've been playing, like they did against GCC, even though that was a loss, they've be in good shape. And right now, they get a season sweep of Springdale, which the last win was only a 3-point victory, 77-74. But Sarah's in good shape right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the Eagles, who they have left, you still have another game with Leechburg. Well, that should be a absolute walk in the park, 72-42 in the first meeting. I think you play Riverview again. I think their schedule's screwed up that I'm looking at. It has a game against Chartiers, Houston, considered section.
It's not, yeah. It's just Jeanette and Leechburg. That's all they got left in section.
Did they play Riverview twice?
Yes, I think.
No, yeah, Jeanette is Saturday, I
Jeanette's
think, right?
Saturday. They have Leechburg to end the year at Leechburg. And I think there's a game that's listed on the 6th. That's Chartiers Houston. I'm pretty sure that's Riverview again, and Riverview's a bottom dweller as well. So you kind of look at it. They've just completely flipped the script. You almost handed GCC, who's considered one of the top teams inside of the 2A classification, a loss. They probably, that's a game they were down by 8, showed great resilience, came back and had a chance to win it, just unable to do so. But they're absolutely rolling right now. Burke, Petty, Dombrowski, they're all getting it going, and then you're just kind of sprinkling your guys off the bench, getting your minutes where you need them. Underwood's playing good minutes. Minifield's giving them good. Christian Warren.
Minifield's actually started a good amount of games.
Yeah, Minifield and Underwood have become the other 2 consistent starters, and then you're going to see Sapita and Warren, first 2 off the bench normally for Coach A.J. Corso. But Sarah Catholic, they're rolling right now, and it all started, obviously that first Springdale game after the loss to Clareton I think, really started to put them in the right direction. They had some games that were very winnable. They did that. The Aquinas game going into GCC, and I think the biggest thing about that, they were down by 8 in that game, and when they came back to take a lead, I think that just showed they can play with anybody.
Yeah. Definitely Sarah's in good spot right now, especially with their schedule the rest of the way.
They do have Riverview again Friday at home, then Jeanette at home on Saturday, and they do play at Chartiers Houston on Tuesday.
They're just okay.
So they do have the 3 section games with Riverview, Jeanette, and Leechburg.
They had those two games canceled last week or the week before?
The snow week, freezing week.
So yeah, Sarah. second straight week where they're going to have back-to-back games on a Friday, Saturday, but. yeah, Sarah's definitely in a good spot right now. Chartier Houston with a win 53-31 over Fraser last night. We had that also in today's Mon Valley Independent. And Char Houston just defensively was just dominant. And they limited the Commodores in every way possible. Nate Gregory, Jake Perchinsky, and Avery Mullick were huge in terms of offense for them. And just a tough night for the Commodores.
Yeah, go Doors. Go Doors anyway.
That's all I can really say.
That's all I can say. I'm wearing a Fraser hat. So, but yeah, for me, it seems like Fraser plays a lot better on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they played Chartiers Houston pretty tough earlier this season, but it was on the road.
And they beat them.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about D. Virgilio Fieldhouse, but not having as much success there as they are on the road this year.
I will say one team that is having success regardless of where they play is the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars. We've talked about their balance time and time again, and we won't, beat a dead horse with it. But, 95-69 victory over Ringgold. 5 in double figures for the Jaguars. Evan Berger, 19 points. Noah Prosser with 18. Brody Evans with 13. Joey Mendick and Nick Turkle each with 10. And, I mean, it's tough for any team to match up against that.
And just added a game February 12th, site not yet known, but they are playing Bell Vernon.
Oh, that's going to be that'll be a good one as well. Good prep for both teams.
Just before the playoffs, yeah.
Good prep for both teams as they head into the postseason. Daryl Tolliver did have 19 points to lead the way for Ringgold. Zaire Dungy with 18. Dimitri Lowe with 10. TJ travels to Trinity on Friday. Ringgold will host Peters Township, I believe, tonight in that one. So,
I think so.
McKeesport 84-77 in overtime over Latrobe. Lamont Perkins with 32 in that victory for the Tigers. Dom Cochran 18, Keith Spell with 15, and Brian Jones with 10. So some nice balance there for the Tigers and a pretty big victory.
First time in a long time we've seen Lamont Perkins leading the way with a big game like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just they lost so much last year, and it never came to fruition so far this year. So it's been tough for McKeesport.
When obviously Dunny Rowe was the main contributor for them.
McGraw.
Shane McGraw had a huge year last year. I mean, just there was a lot of senior leadership. I mean, Lamont Perkins is only a sophomore.
Yeah.
And he's had to kind of step into more of a being I'm the guy type role. So definitely a tough season so far for McKeesport. 5-10 overall. That was their first section victory of the season, but still, I'm sure an encouraging sign for the Tigers to get that win. Montour 60-52 over South Allegheny. Second quarter was pretty much the difference. It was tied 13-13 after the first, and it was very evenly played in the second half. But they outscored SA 15-8 in that second quarter, was able to hold on for that Section 4-4A win. Jake Wolf with 29 points to lead all scorers. Caleb Platts and Amos So with 14 and 12. Michael Mahalski had 15, Justin Beatty with 14, and Cam Epps with 10.
But I think what this game shows is the Amos So production.
Yeah.
Who was not there in the first game? 2 players.
Right.
Mike Mahalski, Camden Lewis, both back. Well, those are big body. Like, Mike's just a big, strong kid. Camden Lewis, I mean, if you see him, he's a football player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no questioning about that. Well, almost so, all 6 of 11 of them, he's a beanpole. Well, Josh Sikowski, no offense to Josh, he's a beanpole too, basically.
Right.
So that matchup favors almost so a lot more than when you have your big bruisers like a Mahalski who's not going to let anybody bully him around, then Camden Lewis, big body guy. And I think that's a big look that South Allegheny, even though they lost to Montour, much closer than the first meeting, and that was on the road. They're a team against continuing to trend in the right direction entering the playoffs.
Yeah, and SA will be at home against West Mifflin Friday.
That was a fantastic first game.
We will actually have that for MVI Live. So if you're interested in watching that, and if you can't make it out to South Allegheny Friday, make sure you join Alex on MVI Live for coverage of that. Clairton 77-41 over Leechburg. The Bears now back to the 500 mark at 10-10 overall, 6-4 in Section 3-2A. 19-plus points in 3 quarters for Clairton last night. They had a 24-point second quarter and then a 20-point fourth. Terrace Teague Wooding with 22 points to lead the way. Quajon Miller with 13 for Clairton. And then Jaden Floyd with 19 for Leechburg. Quajon Miller, very impressive to me, coming off the bench against Sarah Catholic to be able to contribute. Had some big shots inside, hit some big free throws. But Clairton, team that we've always raved about Rashad Hatton and the job that he's doing over at Clairton, and probably not the season that they've wanted to, but also a big adjustment with losing the type of players that you've lost with Devin Dean, and Caden Smith, and all these seniors that really meant a lot to their success. But Clairton's still in a good spot too.
Talk about losing players though. Quajon Miller's basically replaced Deshaun Hines. Who knows? Who
just hasn't been. He wasn't on the floor or on the bench at Sarah Catholic. Not sure his status.
Hasn't been in the box scores, and he was always a primary scorer, so don't know kind of what's going there. Andre's still playing.
Yeah.
Well, no Deshaun Hines, and that's kind of you always end up with that at Clairton. A couple kids a year. You feel like where'd they go? Where'd they go? What happened here? And it's one of those instances you see that all over the area in certain schools. It's okay. Where'd this kid go? Is it academic? Is it just he's moved? But I mean, we just never found out. Deshaun all of a sudden missing in action. Quajon Miller, to his credit, has done an outstanding job helping fill that void for the Bears, who again, two of their main contributors are just sophomores this year. I mean, Ruffin and Wooding are both just sophomores for Clairton, and that's going to be the two that are kind of expected to guide the ship for the next 2+ years for the Bears. And you kind of look at them like that Smith-Devin Dean duo you had from years past if you're the Clairton Bears.
Yeah, and Clairton will head over to Jeanette Friday night for a section matchup. Should be a big game for both of those teams as their potential playoff squads over in Section 3. Carmichael's 47-37 over Bentworth. Tom Colarusso with 17 to lead the way for the Mikes. Ben Hayes with 19 for the Bearcats, who head to Burgettstown Friday night. Monessen 58-55 over Jefferson Morgan. Lorenzo Gardner with 30, Tim Kershaw with 12. Jace Badillion had 15 to lead 4 Jefferson Morgan players in double figures. And Monessen will play at West Green on Friday night.
Which, could this be the year that Monessen is dethroned?
We'll see. West Green with a huge
beats them.
Upset last time. That might be the end of the streak.
West Green beats them. That could be the end of the section title streak. And it would go to the Pioneers.
Yeah.
We've already seen one Mon Valley school lose their section title streak in South Allegheny this year.
Yep. And also in that section, California 77-66 over Mapletown. Vinny Manzella with an impressive night, 31 points for him. Hit 4 threes and scored 21 of his points, all in the second quarter of that win, which allowed the Trojans to clinch a playoff berth in that section. Noah Neal, 16 of his 20 in the third quarter alone. Jacob Zielecki with 11 for the California Trojans, who take a trip to Jefferson Morgan on Friday.
Can I just point this out again, because I was just looking at the screen? This is like the second time the last 3 episodes Jeremy and I are wearing basically the same thing, and
same outfit.
You just didn't get the memo, Jose.
I didn't get the red memo. I don't know. You didn't tell me.
That's what you get for leaving.
I guess
he's
out of the game.
He's out of the game.
I'm not in the group anymore. So.
Voted off the island. Peace.
But big games last night. Big games really all week. For us as we kind of look ahead. Of course, Jeremy will have coverage of some Cal basketball tonight against Edinburgh. I think Liam is covering the women's game, right?
Big game for the Cal U women. They could, if they would lose to Edinburgh tonight, and Valley girl Bailey Brinson's coming back.
Yep.
If Cal U would happen to lose, they could fall out of playoff position right now. I think they would drop all the way down to 5th place in the PSAC West. So
not something we're used to seeing
big game for them. But how about the Cal U men ending the 21-game losing streak to IUP on Monday? They get Edinburgh tonight. I'll have coverage of that game. You're going to take one for the team and do our pages tonight, so I can get the coverage of that one since we had the late podcast today. So we appreciate that. But yeah, Vulcans are rolling in the right direction. It's about time they beat IUP on the court. It's a long time coming.
They're now in the position that IUP's been in really the last couple of years. They're the team that everybody's kind of looking at over in the PSAC.
Still have to go up to Gannon and win another one up there. But
right.
I think they showed down here that they have the formula to beat Gannon.
Yeah. Tomorrow night we'll have coverage, of course, of 3 different games. I'll be heading over to McKeesport for the girls matchup against Thomas Jefferson. Jeremy, I'll have Jeff Helsel with me. Jeremy and Mike Darnay will head over to Sarah Catholic for their matchup against Clairton on the girls' side. Of course, Ayanna Wade from the Bears, the leading scorer in the WPIAL. So we'll have coverage of that.
Single-game scoring record as well.
Yep.
Never mind. Noah Yarton just informed me that Bailey Brinson tore her Achilles, so she will not be in action tonight. Thanks, Yart.
we wish Bailey the absolute best. Not something you want to hear at all.
Maybe she should find a way to get in touch with Mr. Rogers, see if Aaron can give her any tips.
I don't think that's somebody you want to get tips from. But
go in a dark room and let's see what happens.
Right.
California, Bentworth will have coverage of that from Adam Brewer. And then on Friday night, I'll be heading over to EF for their matchup against Albert Gallatin. Adam Brewer will be up at West Green covering that matchup against Monessen. And then we'll have some photos from Charleroi Senior Night from Jen Cottalupi as well.
And
so
rumor has it that Boots DeYounger will get her 1,000th point on Friday.
So that should be that's a big deal as well. So we'll have coverage of all that throughout the rest of the week. And then Alex, of course, will have some stuff to watch on MVI Live, some hockey action.
2 games tomorrow.
Thursday, yep. And then you'll be over at South Allegheny for that matchup against West Mifflin on Friday. So we'll have you all covered, whether it's in print or on MVI Live, of course, as per usual.
Yeah, and if you just want to hear the voice in person, just come out to the Ice Garden early or CFS Bank Event Center.
Yeah,
I got roped into, not roped in, but politely asked, and since it's the first game, I'm going to MC the EF senior night for them. So.
Cool.
Help send those seniors off the right way before they take on Morgantown, and then Connellsville, Ringgold, and, of course, as you mentioned, the final game of the evening. But real quick before we go any further off the high school topic, and on the EF topic, congratulations, the EF cheer team, 6th in 2A in the States. So, Clareton, assistant coach, daughter on that, really helped us out, sent us some pictures, and
we got that in the paper last week. So congratulations to them for a great season, what they were able to do up in Hershey. Definitely a big
I'm just jealous. They got to go to Hershey.
I am too.
I wouldn't mind being in Hershey.
Oh, we could have went to Hershey if PIA.
Wrestling's coming.
It is. It is.
Wrestling's coming. Rune Lawrence is back, so we're good.
Playoffs start tonight for teams. Yep. So Fraser wrestling tonight. Yep. Is it? I thought it was Burgettstown. I could be wrong.
Ringgold at Connellsville. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think Fraser's at Burgettstown tonight.
Fraser's at Burgettstown. They're playing. They're wrestling against Montour.
Yeah, and if
they win, they would play. They would go up against Burgettstown.
Yep. Yeah. I actually haven't even been checking. Like, are there people in the chat? Oh, we got people in the chat. Nice.
Slacking, Jose.
Sorry, I was too busy looking at all the recap from last night and stuff like that. But let's talk. You guys want to talk Super Bowl picks?
Yeah, we can do that real quick.
Into that. Obviously, Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. We saw it a couple years ago, right before COVID, where the Chiefs kind of started this whole reign of winning their first Super Bowl in quite some time, and Patrick Mahomes kind of got started as being that being the current day GOAT.
Yeah,
if that's what we want to call him. Yeah, who we got? Alex, we'll start with you. Who are you thinking?
My gut and what I want to think, what I believe mentally versus gut reaction, completely different. Like, if I'm thinking it through, I'm thinking the 49ers are going to win. I really do. But, everything with the Chiefs this year, just the way it's going, I could see 24-21 Chiefs over the Niners.
I am.
I'd like to see Brock Purdy win. I think that'd be an awesome story.
I think it'd be cool
Purdy.
too. I think Purdy gets way too much hate for really no reason at all.
I'd like to see McCaffrey get a Super Bowl. I think that'd be great as well.
I want to see George Kittle get a suit. Like, there's so many guys on that San Francisco team that,
like, unlike most Pittsburghers, I feel like we're probably in the minority because they don't want the Niners to get another Super Bowl. I do want to see the Niners win, but I don't think they will.
I can't go with the 6th Super Bowl thing around here anymore because it's going to be a long while before the Steelers get another one.
Exactly.
Just let that record get that's as pointless as the 17 non-losing seasons.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what the Chiefs have. It's always about, like, what you've done for me lately. Look at what the Chiefs have. I'd rather, be a fan of a team that is dominating like the Chiefs have done over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Going to 3 Super Bowls.
So is that your pick? Are you picking the Chiefs?
No. No. I said going to 3 Super Bowls.
So Alex is picking the Niners.
He's picking the Niners.
No,
you pick the Chiefs? Oh, okay.
You want the Niners to win, but you're picking the Chiefs.
And my gut reaction is telling me Chiefs. Otherwise, like, if I'd go stats and based on that, I would think the 49ers are going to win. But gut reaction, Taylor Swift's going to carry the Chiefs to a Super Bowl.
God. No.
3-point win for the Chiefs.
I'm going Niners. I think that the Christian McCaffrey effect, I think, is a big deal. I think that Nick Bosa is going to make Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable. as hard as that is.
More so than his wife does? Sorry.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I'm going to go Niners. I'm going to say 31-20.
31-20.
That's a lot more points than I'm thinking. I bet you the under gets bet a lot though with these two defenses.
I think so. Yeah. So I'm along the lines of Alex. I would like to see San Francisco win, but I think when it comes down to it, it's Team Taylor against Team Olivia Culpo, and Taylor's just a megastar, man.
I mean, we saw last week.
I'm thinking about hitting that prop bet that Travis is going to propose on the field after.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Because if any of y'all actually think Taylor ain't going to make it back from Japan in time to go to the Super Bowl, you're absolutely crazy.
Jeremy's actually been trying to figure it out.
I did the math in my head. She'll be there in plenty of time.
Is there a Jason Kelsey shirtless drinking in the stands prop bet?
You get.
I mean,
he might show up in a
Speedo. He might be streaking on the field
after watching their podcast. Or today. I think there's going to be. I think that there will definitely be. I just think when it comes down to it, and I wasn't as much of a firm believer in it, but man, Patrick Mahomes does not lose big games.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed up big time against Baltimore. He came out on fire immediately. I just think the Chiefs are going to win.
You know who loses big games?
I'm going to say 27-19.
I really think that Christian McCaffrey is a difference maker here.
Oh, I agree.
But
I think Pacheco's
this is a game. This is a game too that honestly to me, I'm happy if San Francisco wins. I'm happy if Kansas City wins.
You look at the Chiefs and
it's not the Ravens.
The teams that they've beaten.
Exactly. It's not the Ravens.
And the best running team that they've played so far.
But I also
probably the Ravens. But that's just because Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, and they couldn't get their running game going at all.
This is going to be very similar to last week where all the hype was on Baltimore's defense. Nobody talked about Kansas City's defense, and they went in and ran stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of the same thing. People are going to be talking about San Francisco.
Just run the ball with Chase Young.
Like you said,
Chase
Pacheco
Young might not even be starting.
Pacheco is the real deal, and
he's
credit to Andy Reid's he's up there as one of the greatest offensive coaches of all time. He's going to have a plan.
I look at these two coaches too. We need more coaches in sports like these two guys. For the pure fact is, I don't give a crap where you were drafted or what you did. If you're not good enough to play for me, you're not going to step foot on the field, and I'll take a guy in the 7th round. Like Brock Purdy, and he's going to be my starting quarterback. I don't care if you were drafted 5th overall. I don't care if you were drafted in the 1st round, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm starting Isaiah Pacheco, and that's how it should be.
Right. And the other thing that kind of scares me away from San Francisco is
Dan Campbell's the only reason they're in the Super Bowl.
That and Detroit came out and smacked them right in the mouth, and I think.
And the defense is not even close to Detroit's.
Right, and I don't think Andy Reid and the way those players play for Andy Reid, that will happen in this game. If Kansas City comes out and smacks them and they're up 24-7 at half, that game is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at it, and that's more than possible. I just, I don't know. I just think this San Francisco offense is in a way better state than any of the teams that they've played so far in the playoffs. You look at the way that Brock Purdy's playing. Is he playing perfect? No, absolutely not. But, he has so many different weapons in that game. Brandon Ayuk has had a phenomenal season. Deebo Samuel has been great. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends in the league. And then you have that running game with McCaffrey and that O-line. I think it could be that higher scoring game where it's like 31-20.
But I could also see, with those defensive lines that it's just, okay, we got to go ground and pound at this point because quarterbacks aren't having time to throw.
Yeah.
Because that's just, they're disruptive. Okay, so let's feed McCaffrey on the ground. Let's feed Isaiah Pacheco, and may have the best horse win. And nothing against McCaffrey. I think obviously 10 times better back. But if you're saying run it up the gut 25 times in a game, that's more built for an Isaiah Pacheco type running style. You want to get McCaffrey all over the field, use him to his best ability, and running just power up the middle. Pacheco can do that and loves that all day and every day. The actual lower quality back out of a Big Ten school considered that paid off. Not like Anthony McFarland. Out of Maryland. Now, get the guy out of Rutgers who likes to actually hit people.
He's the preseason hero, though.
That's
He's always the best player on the field in the preseason, then he can't do nothing in the regular season.
Yeah.
That's a Mike T team, though. So
yeah, we'll see.
Anyway.
We'll see what happens here. Of course, you guys on Chiefs. I'm hoping that the Niners can pull it out.
I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Hoping that just to have a good game.
I don't care if I'm wrong or not.
Let's just have a good game.
Show Taylor Swift the whole first quarter. I don't care. I'll be happy.
That's
I'm here for the Deadpool 3 trailer.
Oh, is that actually going to show in the Super Bowl?
Supposedly it's going to premiere at the Super Bowl.
Just like NCAA 24-25 is supposed to be during the national championship.
Right. That's all right. I got that day marked on my calendar. I'm ready.
Yeah,
excited.
Very excited for the Super Bowl. A couple weeks away. Got to give a shout out to Delana, of course, in the chat, and my buddy Sam, who's tuning in. Probably working right now and still tuning in, so I appreciate that. Sam is a big Valley Sports Guys fan ever since the beginning. He always tuned in.
I think you talked to
me
about Sam before.
Yeah, he always tuned in when we were over at Perked Up and stuff. So I actually texted him this week and I sent him the graphic and I was like, hey, got to check it out. So appreciate you, buddy, for checking in and hanging out with us, and appreciate everybody for checking in. I know that we have 8 watching right now, not 10, including us. Well, 10, but then we're also here, so
it's higher than that.
Yeah,
do we want to bring Dawn in real quick to have him?
Yeah. Do we want to do our segments first, and then we'll get to him?
I have no segment today.
Okay,
no grievances?
Do you want to do Bleacher Creature?
I have plenty. Trust me.
That's what I
have plenty of grievances.
We have Bleacher Creature, and then I have one last grind my gear segment.
I will get to the Bleacher Creature right here. Again, these are the words of the Bleacher Creature, not myself. One hundo. The Bleacher Creature has been watching or listening to a good bit of these episodes from where this all started to where it is now. It's been a good run thinking back on all the participants, guests, skits, and everything in between. The Bleacher Creature is going to make this quick. Parents, you are truly chasing the good coaches away. Nobody is perfect, and there are definitely certain situations that need to be dealt with. The energy that some folks put into discrediting someone's coaching ability, or even worse, their personal lives should be used to maybe get a little extra work for their kid to get better. It's not always the coach's fault, and you cannot keep joystick parenting to make sure your kid is the best, or to make sure somebody's there to powder their behinds. They will be okay. Until next time, goodbye, Jose.
Jesus. Thank you, Bleacher Creature.
Yeah.
Always a great time hearing from you.
So, yes, I have a giant grievance, but we're not going to get into that. So.
Okay. Well, I think I have one last grind my gears segment. Wait. We kind of went away from it for a while, but, there we go. One last time.
The Latino heat.
One last time, guys.
So funny.
Little Eddie Guerrero action. You guys know what grinds my gears?
What's that, buddy?
That the NFL cares more about celebrating than it does about actual penalties in a game.
Not to cut you off, but the absolute dumbest thing in football is when we get a turnover, we sprint 90 yards down the field to the other camera.
That stuff is a little,
it's a little much.
It's a little too much. But I'm talking about a simple flex over a guy you just caught a ball off of. Just let him do it.
CC Zay Flowers?
I'm okay. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly my point. Zay Flowers getting a penalty for that. Just let them do it. It's a big game. These guys are just they're running on adrenaline. You make a big catch like that over an NFL defensive back, just celebrate it. If you're not going over, I understand going over the top and everything, but the thing is there's not a consistent ruling on it. Some penalties or some celebrations will get called and others won't. And it's just if you're going to make a call, make it consistent, make it all the way across the board. But I just think you should let the guys celebrate. If they take it too far, all right, I get it. But there needs to be more consistency in terms of these illegal celebrations.
Spoken like a Ravens fan. Anyway.
I'm not a Ravens fan.
I almost didn't have that either. I was sitting here thinking, I got to pull that up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was for Chad.
that one's for you, Chad. That one's for you.
The Latino.
So we'll now actually bring in Don Spagnuolo of Remix by Steel City Galleries. Wanted to give him
Is that going to work, or do you want me to give up my headset?
No, this works.
Give him that.
Right. Yeah, this
works. Want to give him a platform to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about Remixed and what they got going on here.
We got a little baked goods here for Jose.
We'll make some room
We'll
here.
make some room over my homicidal Funko collection because that's where I'm at
Thank you
today.
guys.
Good luck,
I
buddy.
appreciate it. We'll have some of this here afterwards.
Absolutely.
But we'll bring Dawn in to
Smells
talk.
good.
It does smell good.
It smells real good. Oh, I'm lost. Oh, wait, there I am.
Good.
Sorry, Jeremy. It wouldn't
Did
be
you just turn the mic on?
Yeah.
Okay,
It wouldn't. Would it be an episode without you losing your hearing?
No. In my age, I might be losing it anyway. So.
But we'll welcome Dawn Spagnolo in. Dawn, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having the show here.
Thank you for.
Do we have Dawn on camera at all?
Yes.
Yeah, Dawn's on camera. We got.
Okay, I
we
see
made
him.
sure.
He's sitting down
Yeah,
there.
we made sure that we got that. Wanted to thank you obviously for allowing us to be here, allowing us to, celebrate this milestone here. But also wanted to give you a platform to, tell everybody about what you guys are doing here at Remix. Of course, we promote you pretty much any chance we get because we're here so
We're here
often.
a lot. We're here a lot.
But just wanted to kind of give you an opportunity to kind of promote it and kind of tell us how this all came about and what you guys are able to do here at Remixed.
Well, we're very much about local business and very much about the Valley and being a place that a family can come and have fun and not break the bank. We've been in the collectibles business since 2001, and we just moved over here to the Amstel Center, which is the old Fox Grocery warehouse, in 2021, and we opened to the public a little over a year ago, and the response has been pretty overwhelming. We had hundreds of people here on Saturday. It was our Customer Appreciation Day, and it was just wall to wall. And to me, that's really fun. I love the energy when we have so many people, and they weren't just kids. I mean, people of all ages can enjoy our place because we have so many different kinds of items and different eras. We have stuff from the 1800s, and we have things that were made last week. So, it's truly something for everybody, all budgets. Everybody's welcome, and it's a really unique business, and one of my really big long-term goals is to make it something that attracts people to the Valley. And on Saturday there were people that literally did come from out of state for the day to spend some time and look through everything we have.
Yeah, and it seems like every event that you guys have had has been very popular. Saw your Facebook Live on Saturday, and just it was awesome to see the store just filled. The lines are long. I mean, that's what you want to have.
I was here.
Jeremy, of course, was here. Jeremy
here.
took some pictures of his haul that he got on Saturday.
Kenzie was here.
These two love this place more than anything, and it's awesome to bring that to the Valley. I think it's amazing to be able to just have a venue like this, not even just a store, but to have this this event space that you guys have introduced. And from the beginning, I knew you wanted to kind of build more, and it's awesome to see how big it's become.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. I grew up here. My wife teaches at Monessen. We raise our kids here, and we thought there was, a really big void for something that we wanted to fill. And, the Valley gets forgotten about a lot, I think, and there's a lot that it can give. And, people love to have something fun, love to have events, and I just think the Valley gets kind of forgotten about, and we want to put it on the radar. I mean, we were able to do a lot of fun things last year with YinzerCon. We brought some pretty neat celebrities out to Belle Vernon. So, we've got a lot of things up our sleeve for this year. So we're just getting started.
Right. What do you think is next? What's the next one that people should have on their calendars?
Well, we're going to start working on how exactly we're going to do YinzerCon this year, because one of my main concerns is, that some of these conventions, they can get kind of overflow, that they become so big that it becomes almost like an unpleasant experience. And that's one thing I was really proud of last year, was that I think it went really smoothly, and we tried to manage the crowds well enough. And anytime you're dealing with that amount of people, you want it to go you don't want to have long lines to wait in, and so the experience that people have is my number 1, 2, and 3 concern. So we just need to guarantee that we can do things in a way that everybody is going to enjoy, and we'll do it. We'll give it all our heart, and we'll do it the best we can.
Yeah, we thank you for bringing this to the Mon Valley and for allowing us to be here and celebrate this with you. I did want to go down the line, though, and talk, just go one by one. Biggest collection, whether it's like toys, whether it's what's everybody's
right
biggest
now,
collection?
Mine's Funko Pops. I mean, you've seen my office. I have them all over
Yeah,
the place.
these are definitely just to promote the product that's here.
Right.
But Jeremy might actually buy all these.
I might. I still have a gift card from selling my jerseys here a few months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the Funko Pops, bobbleheads even. I have a lot of bobbleheads. Those have always been my biggest collection.
I have a pretty decent Funko Pop collection, but I mean, baseball, football cards for me.
Yeah.
My wife is not the biggest fan of my hobby, but she very much supports it, and I appreciate that.
Right.
Alex, I think yours has to be die-cast cards.
Oh, that's absolutely become. I'm gonna actually mute that real quick while I'm talking, so it doesn't get the reverb, but. Absolutely has become probably the number 1 is NASCAR diecast. There's the running joke in my family between me and my dad and my cousin. So which Cal Larson one? Is that the one with the red and white confetti or the one with the yellow and red confetti?
Yeah.
So yeah, ton of 124th NASCAR diecast. The 164's a ton of bobbleheads out there, Funkos. I got it all.
A lot of bobbleheads too.
You know, all the pirate promotions, try to circle those games, get to them if I can. But yeah. But Funkos and bobbleheads kind of started the massive collections. It definitely went bobbleheads, Funko, and now a ton of NASCAR diecast have joined the collection. I have so much room, or so many of them. I don't know where to put them, and I still have some that I get emails about on a monthly basis. Hey, this pre-order just dropped. We're shipping it to you. You'll get it within the next 2 weeks, and we're going to take your money. So that's always fun. But
I'm constantly going on eBay and whatnot and coming here to look at cards. So. Don, what about you? What do you think is like your? I feel like you probably have a ton of different collections.
Well, you know, I think our inventory here is kind of reflective of what I'm into. But
so everything.
So yeah, kind of everything. But in my personal office is, you know, that's where you'll see stuff like a signed Michael Jordan jersey and a signed Larry Bird jersey and other things that, you know. I see basically everything you could possibly imagine come through here.
Yeah.
So for something to end up in my office, usually it has to have some kind of personal meaning where I think I'm never going to see this again. I should hold on to this. I've got my first autograph ever was from Stan Lee, which I was supposed to meet him at a comic convention in 1983 in Pittsburgh. I got tonsillitis. I missed the convention, and my mom wrote a letter to Marvel, and she explained the situation, and you know, time was just it was such a long time between when she, you know, as a kid, you know, every day it was checking the mailbox, and one day an envelope shows up from Marvel. It's got the Marvel logo. And I open it up, and there's a couple autographed pictures from Stan Lee to Don, and there's comic books, and they're framed in my office. So stuff like that, stuff that has meaning.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I keep in my office, and a lot of pictures of my family.
Right.
But that's what I collect. I collect items that are, you know, of a lot of meaning to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Delana said that Legend has an amazing collection of signed rookie cards. So
nice.
Hey, if he wants to trade those in for other things,
come
on down to Remix. Yeah, just very very thankful for you guys for allowing us to come down here and celebrate this, and obviously wanted to give you guys a platform too to talk about the great things that you guys are doing here. It's pretty incredible. So we speak from experience since we're always here.
Yes. My bank account don't think so, but yeah,
yes,
it's great. And I'm still chipping away at that gift card. So
it took me a long time to go through a gift card here, pretty long time. Yeah.
We have anything else?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of gone through all that we've wanted to talk about. Everything that we, obviously very thankful to everybody for tuning in to episode 100.
I had told you it wasn't a secret. I think you were on email too. You could come say goodbye to our little Puerto Rican friend here. Saturday night at 7:30 at the Foster House, we're having a little get-together. It's not like, you
Nothing
come
formal.
buy your own food, buy your own drinks.
Come
We're just
hang
hanging out. Informal. It's a little later because we have a basketball game at 6 o'clock, but we will be there immediately after, hanging out. You never know what'll happen. Rumor has it the Hartmans are going to be there, so it could just go downhill real quick. Should be a good time. Delana, hopefully we'll see you and LJ there. But, yeah, I mean, excited. Send you off on a good note.
I appreciate you guys, playing something and just come hang out. It obviously would be great to see everybody before I kind of depart. I know Saturday is actually my first day at my new job, and then I'll be heading to Florida in a couple weeks. So
I hate you.
It'll be an interesting couple of weeks. But yeah, would love to see everybody on Saturday, and gotta thank Dawn for the cake as well. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. We'll get some here before we head out. But I also just wanted to take a minute before we close out to just kind of say some things.
You're gonna cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
Kenzie's laughing at you.
Yeah. I don't know. Over the last week or so, I was trying to kind of think of what I would say. Obviously, this is my last episode. I wanted to make more of the focus on this being 100. This is a big thing for all of us. We've worked really hard to make this podcast what it is today. But I was trying to think of what to say, and I didn't want to be sappy or cliche because I knew Jeremy was going to make fun of me. But I'll just do it anyways, whatever. But yeah, just
am I that bad of a person?
No, I feel like every time I say something sentimental, you're just oh, whatever. but
you know where I'm at mentally right now, so we're good.
But no, in all seriousness, I just want to thank everybody for the support over the last 7+ years, not just of me, but of the Mon Valley Independent in general, of the podcast, of MVI Live, of our sports department, our news department, everybody that just puts so much work into this product. It's a very special place to work. I've loved every second of it. It's kind of crazy to think that 7.5 years ago I was 22 years old and joining as a freelance writer and turned into a full-time job and went into being a news reporter and not knowing what I was doing. But through the help of our managing editors, Karen Peters, Stacy Wolford, everybody who helped me kind of navigate those waters, couldn't have done that without them. And then joining the sports department full time and creating a team with Jeremy. I think we made a pretty damn good team over the years, and just seeing what we've built. This podcast was something that we really wanted to do for a long time, and finally came to fruition. And I think we've had so much fun with it over the years, and we've enjoyed being on streams and being able to have that experience on MVI Live.
My voice enjoys when you guys hop on.
Yeah, every once in a while, being able to hop onto streams and do that. Alex has done a phenomenal job with MVI Live and with this podcast, and none of that would have been possible without the help of Chad Corrado and Casey McIntyre and everybody.
Award-winning
podcast, yes, I may say. Yeah, just so many people that have contributed to this. It's not just me and Jeremy. It's not just me, Jeremy, Alex. There's so many people that have helped us and have supported us through.
Mr. Creature himself,
Mr. Bleacher Creature,
jumping in late.
Yeah, who has been a very consistent contributor as of late. So yeah, I'm just very grateful and thankful for this experience and for all the love that I've received over the last couple of weeks.
Players, coaches, everybody.
Yeah, players, coaches that have said that what we've done has meant something to them, and in the grand scheme of things, that's all we want, is to do something that's meaningful for the community and do something that highlights these players and these coaches and everybody that just puts so much work into what they do. So I hope that I've made everybody proud. I hope that everybody at the MVI, I've made everybody proud there, and that my hire 7 years ago was worth it. But very, very grateful and appreciative. So thank you, everybody, for always tuning in and reading our work and supporting us in everything we do. So, yeah, that's it.
You done?
Yeah. Sorry, that was long-winded.
That was long-winded.
That was long-winded, but I didn't. I was actually going to write it down as a note to my first year and a half, where I wrote down all my questions before I asked them to coaches. But I decided to just speak from the heart, and that's just how I feel about it. So thank you guys, everybody, for all the support. So
on that note, that's it.
Yeah. One last time, Jose?
One last time. One last farewell. As we close things out, I'd like to remind all of you to subscribe to the Valley Sports Guys podcast on YouTube. To be able to see all of our episodes, whether it's in the past or in the future. These guys are going to continue it on, and it'll keep going.
Week of mourning.
Yeah, we'll have a week of mourning next week, and then the guys will be back here the Wednesday
1 or
after.
2 weeks, and we'll be back.
3 months, and then we'll be.
Might only be me and Alex, but we'll be back.
We'll be there.
But I will be in this chat. I will be supporting you guys. I will always be a huge fan of this, and I know you guys are going to continue to make it what it is without question. So. And
Jose, if you get a free day mid-March, and
maybe
we get a
maybe we can get a special guest
impromptu Valley Sports Guys podcast
during a homestand, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we'll come in and talk some Pirates baseball as well. So definitely not going to be far, and I still live in the Valley. I'm a Valley guy now, regardless of where I go. So
that's the one thing I might apologize to you for.
What?
Is making you a Valley guy.
Yeah, you
convincing you to buy a house in the Mon Valley.
Let's just say that in 2016 I was a much different person than I am right now.
Go Knights.
And I think that Jeremy Salou and Stacey Wolford are to blame for that. Thank you guys. I love you both.
You're welcome.
If you're interested in advertising with us, that's always available. Contact Alex if you want your business promoted here on the Valley Sports Guys podcast. We love supporting businesses, of course, just like Remixed, one of the best around. So, but want to say thank you again to Remixed and Dawn, everybody here, for allowing us to come and spout our nonsense today for episode number 100. And, of course, a special shout out to his place in Monessen for being our home of the Valley Sports Guys podcast.
And if you like any of the stuff that you see on the table, come down and get some of it.
Yes, come and buy this.
Not now. We're closing.
Not right now. Like tomorrow.
Not today.
Weekend.
Come tomorrow.
But come tomorrow. Buy this before Jeremy does, if it's still here.
Save his bank account.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes. Before Jeremy Salou, for Alex Lyons, for Don Spagnolo, for Kenzie Salou, who is behind the camera, who is our one audience member that is here. Thank you all for your support of the Valley Sports Guys podcast. Thank you for supporting us through 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more. Thank you, everybody.